Hi, I'm Jennifer Marie James, and I have created this YouTube channel in hopes to give you some inspiration towards your crafty self. Welcome to Sunday Fun Day Craft Day! This is Simplicities S9145 skirt. For today's project, I have decided on the long, flowy version of the skirt. It is a perfect transition from summer to almost autumn. So with that being said, let's get this video started. Materials that you'll need are scissors, pins and needles, safety pins, a 3/4 inch and a 5/8 inch elastic band, your fabric of choice. Today I'm using a stretchy polyester, and of course a sewing machine. When preparing for the fabric, I went ahead and gave it a little rinse, dried it out, ironed it out, and then also cut and ironed out my pattern pieces. For step 1, we're simply going to stitch a 5/8 stitch for the front and sides together, and then another 5/8 stitch for the back and sides together. A small modification, I did have to end up taking off a panel later on in my project since the material is much thicker. To keep the seam allowance anchored to the skirt, in step 2, based on the notations of the pattern, one should use a fusible web or machine basting. I ended up using a fusible web with the interfacing material that I had to keep the seams anchored. So my question for today is, what is interfacing? Based off of McCall's sewing book, interfacing is a suitable fabric sewn between the garment and facing to give added body, shaping, and support to the garment. Usually used along edges in collars, cuffs, pockets, and waistbands. When ironed, it slightly infuses into the fabric. So as you can see here, I had created about a 5/8 inch strips of interfacing that I had placed on the edge of my seams. As a beginner, I'm unsure if I got this part correctly done or not. Yet, based off the instructions of the pattern, it also mentions to create a casing within the seams of the pattern. In step 3, we're going to create the 3-tier casing to run our elastic through. I ended up creating my own bias tape using a wonderful bias tape maker kit that I got a couple months back. It has different sizes to create the bias tape, and I just simply stitched it along the edges, giving it a 2-inch almost allowance between each panel and creating an opening for my elastic. In step 4, you're going to stitch your 2 pieces of casing together, which is your waistband, and stitch it onto the skirt. In step 5, you'll finally get to run the 3/4 inch elastic into your waistband, and then also the 5/8 inch elastic into the 3-tier casing. I did have to try on my skirt to make sure that it was lining up to my waistline, and then created a little knots at the end of my skirt before I sewed them together. In step 6, I finally was able to close up my elastic. I first stitched my elastics together and then created a slip stitch over my casing to make sure that it was nicely secured. Step 7, I was finally able to hem up all my pieces and cut away any extra thread, and even add a little ribbon bow if I wanted to at the end of my skirt. So there you have it, Simplicities S9145. I love how this ended up embracing my curves. If you find this video to be helpful or inspiring, then please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time.